And welcome to another live broadcast of Guide Out of Darkness. I'm your host, Nasiri Katia, and I am coming to you live all the way from Baja Malibu, Mexico. And I have God Nation here, our guides that are here with us pretty much every week to sharing the discussions and the conversation about what? About your healing, about being illuminated out of past trauma, pain, and yes, many of us have walked the walk and been Christians, and now we are on our journey of what's next outside of Christianity. Christianity is our foundation, but we realize that it's not the end all be all. Like there's so much more expansion to our life. And so every week we are exploring topics around spirituality and how to help you navigate your journey from that dark place and that place of just not knowing, just being on your quest to what's next. So we are doing that. And I am so excited to have God Nation here. We have Letitia Demetrius. Oh, Demetrius is a new face. Demetrius don't look so serious. Come on now.
Well, you said stuff I wasn't ready for, but I'll get there.
We have Stephen, our guy Stephen. So I'm going to let each one of them introduce themselves, share a little bit about themselves, their journey of going from where they've been to where they are now, and where they're located. Okay, so let's start with our OG Letitia, and then we'll move to the new G, Demetrius, and then we'll go back to another OG, which is Stephen. Okay, let's do it in that order. Go ahead, Letitia, take it over.
All right. Hello, good people. My name is Letitia. I am located in Houston. And once again, it's hot here. And but it is what it is. So I can't have a hot girl summer. I will be inside this summer. I do identify as a Christian, and I am actually on my journey of connecting with God and learning who God is for myself. So over to you, Demetrius.
Yes, my name is Demetrius, and I too identify as a Christian, but I understand God is still speaking. So the Bible is not the end all for me. It is my relationship with God that speaks to the spirit of the truth of the word. So many people get into the letter of those words only when it helps their cause. Now, when they don't help their cause, they sure can't find a way around it. And that's why it's so important to have a relationship so the Holy Spirit can give you the spirit of the word of God that applies to you right now in every situation.
Come on, Demetrius. Demetrius is to preach already. Come on.
I'm telling you, you better preach. You better preach. And I'm having a little lag. So can you hear me? I'm not worried about the video as much as you guys being able to hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, as long as you can hear me, but I'm having a little lag out here. So, trying to be cute sitting by the Mexico pool. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Steven.
Okay. Hey, everybody. My name's Steve. I'm in Fort Worth. And I don't have anything as profound as Letitia and Demetrius, but I do identify as Christian, and I'm on that same journey, just understanding who God is and what God is and what we are to Him.
Yes. Thank you, Stephen. So let's just jump into it. So today's topic is spiritual practices, your daily spiritual practices. Why do you do what you do? And we're going to talk a little bit in the second half of the show about spell work. Yes. Ooh, spell work. So again, I apologize for the lag in my video, but as long as you can hear my voice, that's what's important right now. So your daily spiritual practices. What does that look like? I know in my teachings as a Christian, there were two main things that was very, very well, actually I would say three main things that were very, very important. And they said that you must do those three things. And it was almost like if you did those three things that you would be okay. And the one of the things was definitely you had to read your Bible. You had to read the Bible. You had to know your word. If you weren't reading the Bible, then you wouldn't know what God was saying to you. The second thing was to pray. You basically learn to pray by starting with the Lord's Prayer that he taught the disciples. And so with that, I learned that you pray. And then the next thing that I learned is that basically that whole praise and worship, so those are the three things that I was taught, and I thought that that was it. And somehow doing those things over and over again, for me, it produced some power, but then as I started realizing there's so much more to that, like we were missing things. And it wasn't until I started connecting with other cultures that I realized what was missing for me. So I'm going to say I'm 47. So I'm going to say about 40 years of my life, it was prayer, read the word, and praise and worship. And if you did those things, that you were good. So I'm gonna turn it over to you guys. What were you taught? What did you do?
Well, I'll start because I'm probably the most least the I'm the least structured here. I don't have a set thing that I do every day. Uh, but when I'm by myself, I have a tendency to meditate, and that's when a lot of stuff comes up for me spiritually.
But Stephen, when did
Uh,
you learn to meditate? You didn't learn to meditate in the church?
no, and well, that's a
Right. So
whole
let's
nother
take us
story.
there first. Yeah, take us there first. Take us to church first, and then we'll get into what we do now and why.
Okay, well, the when church, I'm taught the same thing. You said you're supposed to read your Bible every day, pray, and worship and praise the God. But so I was taught the same thing. But uh,
Oh, he said,
what?
but
But but what I don't have a set schedule on what I do. I just do it throughout the day, and then I have the Bible on my phone, and it'll give me a daily passage of the Bible that I'll go and read. And then if I have time by myself, I have a tendency to think about things, and I'll text Letitia. I'll say, well, I just thought about this. We need to put this on our future podcast that we've been talking about. And so I don't have a structured way that of doing things every day. And I say that because I know I have some friends, both of who are on here, that I know that they wake up and do something every day.
he
They,
said he
they
ain't
have a
calling
method.
nobody out, but he got some friends. They get up and do something every day. He said, I ain't structured like that.
Right. And
But
I'm probably and in all likelihood I'm probably the norm.
mhm.
Mhm.
Uh, and I think the Bible says we're supposed to pray unceasingly, and I think I do that throughout the day, and
Mhm.
not praying and prostrating myself on the floor and praying, but my mind is thinking. I'm always thinking about stuff.
But what is prayer? What is prayer?
Ooh.
What is that? What is it that the Bible is asking us to do? And why are we doing it? And guys, jump in. Like, this is a conversation. You don't have to wait to be called and all of that stuff. Jump in. But one of the things I will say is that I kind of felt like during my Christian journey, I was always praying because I wanted something, or I felt
Hmm.
deficient in something, or I needed rescuing. Like,
Mhm.
that prayer got old and tired. Like, why was I always dependent upon God to rescue me or to get me out of pain? Like, that was what I got when it was time to pray. It was always to tear down some strongholds. Like,
Mhm.
why do we have so many strongholds? What the hell?
Yeah. So, um, I want to answer that. So to me, prayer is communication. It's talking to God and also listening. And I think that growing up in the church,
I think you got a congregational member. He's clapping.
because I think that growing up in the church, we're not taught the listening part. We're taught the always go to God. Well, depending on what church you grew up
Yeah,
in.
that's the right answer. Where you go.
Yeah. You talk to God, and it's always from an African American perspective, it's kind of like we go to God on a begging. We're always begging for something like, oh God, please, I need $50, but if you give me 10, I'm okay. And that's not, and we're taught that. Whereas some other cultures, it's like, God, I need $50,000 by Friday. I know you're gonna give it to me, and I'm done. And so it's a difference in communicating, but then that goes into relationship.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times in our churches, and I'm not coming for the Black church or anything like that, but we're
You
not
just
taught
from your perspective, what
from
you
my
know.
perspective,
Mhm.
we're not taught relationship. We're taught a lot of doctrine. And a lot of us get so caught up in having a relationship with doctrine as opposed to having a relationship with God and Jesus Christ. So
Right.
but that's my perspective, that's my opinion. Not saying it's facts, but that's just what over the years that I have, observed. And so for me growing up, it was definitely you had to read your Bible, you prayed. But it was praying at home. I didn't learn until I got older that I could pray throughout the day. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
And necessarily it wasn't even praise and worship. I mean, we listened to gospel music, but I didn't know how to worship.
Mhm.
And that's a different thing.
Mhm.
Now, as an adult on my own journey, I know how to do that. And I know how to meditate and I know how to listen and allow God to speak to me. Sometimes I don't like what is said because there's no something I got to
Yeah.
check with myself.
Right.
But
Right.
I know how to open myself up and listen and hear God.
Right.
So,
Right. I like that. One of the things I want to also interject in there is um, I kind of feel like they taught us to pray and then they teach us to go to God like begging and just believing that it's going to be done. But then it didn't teach us self reliance. And I think that's where the Muslims, or let me specifically talk about the Nation of Islam. I believe that's where the Nation of Islam became so attractive, especially to the Black male, because after you get done praying, you have to still be able to do something. And to me, it just almost felt like the way we were praying or the way we were taught to pray, it was almost like it induced low self-esteem or induced that we just really were helpless. But it was contradictory to me what God wanted us to do. He created us to be his juniors, right? To be his juniors and to have dominion over this playground that we call earth. But we praying and crying and snotting all the time for him to rescue us from what? And I had I saw a quote that I put in my stories this week. It said, religion is for people who don't want to go to hell, and spirituality is for people who already been there.
that's good. That's good.
Because I remember just really wanting to join the church and really wanting to be saved because I didn't want to go to hell. I didn't do it because I wanted a relationship with God. Who was God? God was this judge in the sky that was schizophrenic and barbaric and didn't like people if they did anything wrong, and you were going to hell. So to me, getting saved was fire insurance. And that was religion for me. But spirituality was taught me that, girl, your whole life has been hell. Your whole life has been hell, and you better learn something else. You better learn how to navigate the yin and yang here on earth, right? Because to me in Christianity, it's all about keep trying to create this better place, and we're going to a better place. All this projecting into when I die versus, and then I'm in a lot of turmoil here trying to hope that my sin is not the reason why I'm going through what I'm going through, not knowing that it's just yin and yang. It's just life. The dark and the light have to they go together. We have the sun in the day, and then we have the moon at night. They go together. So, Demetrius, I see you over there getting your text together. Go ahead.
Oh no, because I'm making notes. I hate to interrupt people. And so,
no. It's a conversation. Go right ahead.
Well, because at first we were talking about our process, and then we went to the prayer part. So I didn't know where to get in, and I don't want to take up a whole bunch of time.
We Black folks, we talk about everything. We'll be talking about chicken before,
before
it's all over.
Well, definitely, it is important to understand, like Lala said, that when it's the ground that you came up in. I didn't have these experiences. And it's not the first time I've had a conversation, even at the church I go to now. A lot of times they talk about church. I didn't have that experience coming up. And I grew up Church of God in Christ, but it must have been a pretty progressive one because we were taught to pray all the time. Don't wait till you get home, right then and there. If there's something come up, bring it before the Lord. And just don't do it when there's something going on bad. Why about not when something going on good? So I didn't have the experience. I've always had the map, get to it right there and there if you can. Now, I didn't grow into it till I got older. I really didn't understand that any and every time I can pray, as Steve talked about, throughout the day, why not right now? Why not right now? It is right now. And because I can't compartmentalize this relationship. And so I don't want to also go to God when I just want something. I would hate to date somebody that every time I talk to them, can you give me $20? Can you pay my telephone bill? Can you pay my rent? Can you put some gas in it? How about, you know what? I couldn't wait to talk to you today. I just wanted to tell you how much I enjoy being around you. I was at work and I got to this. I said, I know I get home, baby, we're going to do this. I want to tell you some good things. So many times in relationships with people, we've done that with God. We only want to go to God about our problems. Why can't we talk to God about? I'm just so grateful that even it's hot outside, I thank you that I'm not the one having to be there in the heat. I like the sun, but I don't like the fact that the sun is showing out today. We know you're powerful and beautiful. You don't have to show us all your glory and splendor. Stand back a little bit. I thank you, God, for it. But come on now, this is too much. All I like to say in that is I do believe in relationship. And if I'm going to be in relationship with anybody, I want you to bring me your good and your bad, because I need to be able to enjoy you here and now. I ain't talking about heaven. You know what? Like they said on Color Purple, bust missed in the head and think about heaven later. I like Luther Vandross. He says, here and now. I promise to do this now. I don't know what tomorrow gonna be. I don't know what's over there. I believe something good is over there, but I can't live for that. I'm living for right now to please the best I can in the best relationship. So for me, it's always been about relationship. It's always been about right now. It's always been, you can have all of it. Have I been perfect in it? No. Have I spent more time thinking about what I need, what I want, and that prosperity gospel? Yes. I've had thought about it. But in reality, a relationship has its ups and downs. And I got to be able to be free to come. I'm going to say this and stop. I have to be free to be able to do this. Come before God and whomever, however you call him, I got to be able to come open with everything, unashamed. And I'm going to say this because I heard you cuss, so I can say it. I was tired of something. And I said, I'm fucking tired of this. And I can say that. I didn't cuss God out. I'm letting God know that's how I really feel. Why am I hiding it? You already know. I'm fucking tired of it. When is this going to be over? I'm going to stay with you till it's done. But I'm letting you know I really want this over. And I know you'll take care of it. But how I feel right now is I'm fucking tired of it. Take care of this. Now, the young me, I couldn't have done that. The older me, I couldn't have done that before God. But when I realized you already know.
Right.
I'm not saying it across the pulpit. I'm talking to me and you. If I was in a relationship, listen, I'm tired of this. I need you to help me understand and get through this. Now I got you. You got my full attention. But I am fucking tired of this.
Yes. And Demetrius, and here's the thing about that. And I love what you say. He said he didn't have the experiences that I had. And I love that. I love having, and this is why this conversation is just so yummy, so yummy.
It wasn't perfect now. It did have a lot of that nonsense stuff.
And you said you grew into it. You grew into it. That is also so beautiful. But what do you do when you are fucking tired, right? what do you do? And that's why spiritual practices for me is so important, because I realize there are spiritual practices that you use during certain seasons or times, or the things that you're coming to God for. But we were just taught pray, pray, read the word, and praise and worship. If you didn't do one of those three things, then you were incomplete, or you had a lot of sin in your life. And and to me now, understanding my spiritual growth and my spiritual journey, there's so many parts but one body. Y'all know I say that. There's many parts but one body. And part of spirituality for me is figuring out what part do I need for right now to be in the here and now. What part do I need? So, and I like, as we look at the highlights of the different guides that we've had over the week. So I think we started with Queen Aisha, and she brought the chanting. Well, sometimes your energy is too low to even come to God. Sometimes your energy is too low to even manifest some beauty and some rest or some support. So now what you need to do is look for a spiritual practice, a tool that's going to help you elevate your presence. Your presence. Because when you look at the Bible, how they say that, there was three courts. There was the outer courts, there was the inner courts, and then there was the most holy of holy. But you had to be able to present yourself a certain way before you can even get in the holies of holies. We go over that and we just like marvel at it and all that stuff. But practically, for the here and now, what was it actually saying? Literally, you have got to get yourself in a certain energy level or spiritual height, and even go to God and think that you're going to get anything from him, or that you're chosen to change the atmosphere. So I learned that. So with chanting, for me, and chanting is just repetition of words that quiets your mind, quiets your present reality, but lifts your spirit man up. Chanting is also speaking in tongues. Some people can speak in tongues. Some people can't. Some people chant. Some people, the Namyo holder and getting killed. So chanting is just it's the elevation of the spirit. So when do you use that? You use it when you're trying to elevate, right? Now, for some, it might be I need to do some turn on some praise music. Because sometimes, let me tell y'all, the other day in my room, the other night, I turned on, I don't know if y'all remember this, Do Not Pass Me By, the fast version. Do not pass me by. Yes, do not. I was in my room tearing up the floor. Because the thought of that, like, God, don't overlook me for not that I need something, but I want to offer something.
Oh, come
Help
on now.
me in my gifts. Help me be that woman, that healing that people keep saying they see. Let her be able to cut an eye at a person and they heal.
That's good.
Don't pass me by. Let me be able to be like my big brother Jesus. And when I speak the word, it happens.
Yeah.
Don't pass me by. And so that song was on, and I hadn't heard that song in eons. But Henny, I thank God I live in a singular house and no neighbors and no downstairs neighbors, because I was getting busy in that room. What did it do? It elevated instantaneously. So knowing what spiritual practice to use when, that's important. And not looking at somebody else and being like, okay, so we talked about meditation. I think Stephen was like, I meditate. Well, why do you meditate? What is that about? Why does it look like meditation is the new trend? Everybody somewhere sitting like eyes closed, Indian style, humming and buzzing and doing yoga now. What is that about? What's meditation? So I'll turn it over, because I could talk.
Well, and when I say meditation, I mean alone with my thoughts. I don't mean sitting in the corner, Indian style. If I could get my legs Indian style, and
I'm working on it, Stephen. I am working on it. I am determined. I'm going Indian style and it not hurt. It hurts.
but I enjoy, and so a lot of people don't understand. I enjoy my time by myself because, I've learned that I enjoy silence, and so I'm alone with my thoughts. That's what I mean when I say meditate.
Me
It
too.
could be, and sometimes I'm in my car, and once I get to where I'm going, I realize I don't even have the video on. I'm just alone in my thoughts, and so that's what I mean. Not the what everybody thinks is meditation is. It's just me and my thoughts.
And I like you saying that, Stephen, because that means you're taking ownership of what it is for you. You're not looking around and saying, well, this is how they meditate, so I must have to do that. You're saying my meditation for me is just self-reflection and quiet, and I don't want to hear nothing. I just want to be alone with me. That's intimacy that you're creating with yourself. And I love that you're able to self-identify and do that. I know, Letitia, you was about to say something.
I was just gonna say, like for me, meditation. So the other day I did sit on the floor and meditate, and
Don't let Steven peer pressure you. You are fine. You can sit Indian style and put your hands up in the lotus position.
I don't know how long because it was a struggle to get up off the floor. But
Lord.
but for me, like I like sitting on the floor. So
Do you know why you like sitting on the floor, Letitia?
to be honest with you, I don't. Even as a kid, I've always liked sitting on the floor, and so I have read that that's like a way of grounding yourself.
I was going to say you're grounding. Your root chakra is trying to is trying to find security and a sturdy foundation.
Yeah. So
And you're one with the earth.
So I've always, and see, even with that, like I've always been the kid that liked to walk outside with shoes off.
Yes.
Even now, as an adult, I don't like wearing shoes. It's a struggle. It really
Oh
is.
my God. I got on flip-flops now.
If
my
I could wear
God.
flip-flops year round, I would. The
I
wintertime,
would
I struggle.
too.
I really do.
Did you used to get in trouble? They said, why you running around barefooted like you what they used to say,
my
barefoot
grandmother
through the
like,
jungle or something stupid.
yes,
Something crazy.
exactly. And growing up, I didn't like people to touch my feet. And my aunt still teases me about that. But anyway, so yeah, the other day I actually sat, on the floor and did meditation. And then sometimes it's I work from home. Some days I go the whole day without the TV on or without any type of noise. And
Let
it's
me
just
back you up. You said you sat on the floor and you did meditation.
Mhm.
What pulled you to do that? Why did you feel like you needed to meditate? What were you meditating about? What was the meaning for that?
So I just felt like I needed to do that because I felt like I needed clarity. And so let me back up. So I interviewed for a position at an institution, and it was a lateral move. And so the hiring manager, after I declined the position because it was a big pay cut, after talking to him, he spoke so much life into me. And he was basically telling me, you keep shortchanging yourself by applying for these positions that are lateral. You need to get out of your comfort zone and start applying for where you're supposed to be. And so he was talking to me like I received everything he said, but I didn't receive it. And so I was like, I really need clarity. And so when I did the meditation, what I heard was there is enough. And so I was like, what does that mean? And I just kept hearing it. And so later on, it was, I'm not gonna say it, God was saying to me, you have been operating out of lack. And you have been shortchanging yourself. You go to what's comfortable. It's time for you to get out of your comfort zone. So I will be totally honest with you, like that conversation with him, it sparked me meditating and saying, okay, you need to sit down and figure out why are you comfortable in your comfort zone, if that makes sense. So yeah, so that sparked it.
And that is the true essence of meditation. It's clarity and to hear, to get the download from God regarding the situation. Because sometimes when people say, let me pray about it, or I'm waiting on God. No, you're not, because he's there. He's going to let you know what you need to do. If you quiet and you're clear and you are open and you're in the right presence, like you have the right energy to hear, he's going to tell you immediately. You don't got to go wait on God. And some things you don't have to fast 40 days and 40 nights. He's going to tell you immediately.
I think that the waiting on God is a fear thing. I'm scared.
Definitely.
Definitely. Just say, I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on God to bring my husband.
Pray about therapy. Lying on God, all out of integrity. Yeah. All out of integrity. Lying on God. You are not going to pray about nothing. You just don't know how to say no because you are afraid as hell.
Yeah. It's scared.
Some people really do want to pray, you know. But it don't need 40 days and 40 nights because you're not about to build. You're not about to be Moses. You're not about to do no commandments. You're not about to do nothing that's damn serious that take you 40 days and 40 nights. Even Esther only needed 3 days.
Yeah, that's true. And sometimes I think people can use religion as I don't want to say as a drug, but so to speak, kind of, sort of like that.
A crutch.
A crutch. Thank you.
An unhealthy attachment. Religion can be an unhealthy attachment. The way we use it, yes, an unhealthy attachment. Go ahead and say it, or addictive. Like I remember just, having women on my Mary Kay team, and they couldn't set up a party. They couldn't call people and be like, hey, I got this product I want to sell. But they would be always having Bible study and preaching, but be in lack. But I'd be like, what in the world is that? How is it that you got so much time to preach the Bible, but you're not living it? You can't even pick up the phone and say you started a business. What in the world? So that is an unhealthy attachment. And you so busy with the Bible that you're not even using the Bible to shift your life, your experience. You afraid. The truth is you afraid. You are so afraid. But you're going to stand behind the Bible and your work for God. No, your work for God is to show women how to feel beautiful and how to feel fearfully and wonderfully made. But you can't do that. Keep preaching the Bible. Be the Bible. Oh, I was on my horse. That stuff bothers me. Well, it just bothers me. I'm so glad I'm free.
She froze.
You think she's still talking?
Demetrius, I don't think so. You there? Yeah, Demetrius is there.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. He's quiet. I'm not.
Well, because I got.
You was trying to wait. You can't wait for us to stop.
Well, no, I was about to, but she called your name, so I just went ahead and let you speak.
Y'all go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm using my phone Wi-Fi, and my grandmother called. Now she know I'm doing a show.
Well, I didn't get it. I agree with Steve on the. I meditate the same way Steve does, and it's something I'm still working on because I have a hard time being quiet. So when I do it, it doesn't last long for us to sitting still quiet. Think on it. But she said 2 things I want to speak on about hell and the other thing about the different chances speaking in tongue. I believe it is all the same, but I believe one of the most effective tools of the enemy is division. We do the same thing, but want to divide us up on how we do it. He said, no, your way is wrong, my way is right. This got to do this way. So it doesn't surprise me that we all can be doing the same thing, but calling it a different name. A rose by any other name still smells the same.
Yes,
it still smells the same. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was we know now, and we know that's why churches are not as strong. They profited off of the idea of hell for so long. Now, once people have realized, can read and realize that if you're going to go Christianity-wise, Jesus has paid it all. You only do what you have to do out of love and respect to that relationship. But you don't get invited into the family. You don't get adopted into the family and then get kicked out you're in. You're in.
Mm-hmm.
But they want to profit off hell. And now that's the one thing when I grew up in church, that was the one thing that was still being taught. You don't backslid. You did this, you don't backslid. I had a thought. You're backslid. I know this is a safe place. I'm gay. So I'm sitting there looking at some of the men sometimes. I'm looking like, woo, in my mind. And then, oh Lord, not only am I gay, and I got a backslide because I thought about him. And all that constantly over and over again, that got kicked out. I had to be at the altar every Sunday until I got able to read myself. That all I had to do was receive the gift one time and do the best I can out of that relationship and love to grow. But I'm not going to get kicked out just because I'm messing up or thought. And I'm not saying that homosexuality is sin. I'm just saying that place where I wasn't going to get kicked out because I had a thought. I wasn't going to get kicked out because I had an action. I'm in. Would you let somebody you love die for something? Die for all of that, and you would tell me because you put on some pants and some makeup, they're gonna kick you out of the family? That is stupid to me. But
they teach it, but go ahead.
I grew up in there. So just because you came here loving the same gender, you get kicked out after accepting the gift. So you died for nothing then. Because that means you didn't pay it all. You paid it all. I thank you for it. I accept it. I'm not giving it back. You ain't taking it. And fuck everybody else who try to take it from us. I'm done.
I love it. I am raising my hand because, Demetrius, I had a lust demon. And they kept telling me I had a lust demon. And I was at the altar trying to get rid of my lust demon. Didn't know it was sacred sensuality that's a part of my creation process. It's a part of who I am. And what did I grow up to do? Teach people how to have better sex and how to find their soulmates and stuff. But they were my gift, telling me I had a lust demon. What they were seeing was the energy of Venus, Aphrodite trying to unleash. I was in love with love, all aspects of it. But they kept telling me I ain't gonna make it in, and I couldn't work and I couldn't do it. I let the Lord deal with me on my lust demon. I wasn't screwing everything. I just was very sensual. And that's who I am as a woman. That's what makes me feminine.
Yeah.
My sensuality. But they told me it was wrong. And I was at the altar, Demetrius. And I didn't think God liked me. Why would you give me a lust demon? And you won't take it from me.
Come on now.
Oh, Demetrius.
That's a place of hurt right there.
It's a big place of hurt.
Yeah.
Wow.
And how can I have a relationship with God based on what these people kept telling me?
See, they don't want to fill the church with the truth. I'm not saying the favorite church. A lot of them are not there. The prophet of hell is, I must convince you, you must do all of these works and do all of this and show up here, get your tithes and offering, do what we say do, and you're going to make it. Then if I change church, they got a whole nother prescription. Then this will got a whole nother prescription. When the whole thing has been given to us, if you're going to be a believer of Christ, once you accept that gift, that's it. Now you shouldn't live any kind of way, but you'll get there out of relationship, not out of fear. Right. They want to profit off of hell. And when you see them scriptures talking about when you get before and they're going to stand there, you caused them to fall. I gave them to you to help. And you caused them to fall. Woe be unto them, not you for having the desire to have sex, or at least just be sensual. Woe be unto them who tried to tell you wasn't even right with God. That's because you felt your nipples get hard.
Ain't that terrible? Oh, my Lord.
Oh, that's the case. A man going to hell every morning. We wake up with a heart on.
Oh.
I know. And I think that's such a blessing. And I just can't.
No, it's not.
God, Aphrodite with a man and stuff like that. Oh Lord, thank you for blessings. And I had them laughing not too long ago. It was my girlfriends. We were sitting around the pool, and I said, y'all want to make God so deep. I said, God was nasty. The first thing he did was after he created heaven and earth and all of that, the birds and stuff, he said Adam and showed Adam how to work, told him what to take care of. Then he made a badass woman. And Adam was like, whoa. And the first thing they did was consummate, become married, become one. That was the
Yes.
first thing. He was like, let's do sex first. When I create man and woman, let's
Mhm.
And he was watching. I hate calling God he, and God was watching.
and God was
It was
watching.
watching.
He said that
Yes.
was
Hello.
very good. He was a voyeur.
Okay, I was gonna say that.
He is a voyeur. So why would he make everything so complicated and stupid and restrictive? It's natural. Everything is
What
natural.
what the question is, why are they afraid to have a frank and honest discussion in church, in religion about sex? Because a lot of times, a lot of the hangups that people have is because of what they were taught in church.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, you also have to remember, and this can definitely, our conversations can continue on, but you have to understand for the Black church why it was institutionalized, why it was created. First of
Yeah.
all,
Mhm.
then secondly, also what one of the things I was always challenged by is why is Christianity the one religion I know that always judges every other religion? Why is it that this is the only fucking path? Why? Why are you so hateful and mean and everybody else ain't shit if they not a Christian? What does that come from?
Mm.
But
That
then I had to trace back the origin of Christianity as we're using it in the Western culture as well as the Bible, and it was Europeanized. So, who are the
mhm,
barbarics of this
Yeah.
world that we live in? It's our
Mhm.
European brothers and
Mhm.
sisters who colonized every other culture and told them what y'all was doing ain't shit. We had King James and his boys come together and look at some spiritual writings from the Hebrews and from Paul and everybody else who they said was Paul or whatever, pull together some writings that we feel fits our agenda, and now we're going to publish it, and now we're going out to conquer the whole world with it. That's what they did. And so that spirit remains. That's
Mhm.
why if you go against a Christian, you're going to hell. You ain't right. The devil got you, and all that stuff, because it's the spirit of, to me, our brothers and sisters, our European brothers and sisters. And then it starts making sense to why Farrakhan was always, they would say, you know, the white man was the devil. I understand it all differently now.
Mhm.
They don't want you to think like they didn't want us to read.
Right.
Because you read, you come enlightened. You have a relationship with God. When you get a relationship with God, you become powerful. They didn't
Right.
want you to know that. So
Mhm.
they let y'all little beautiful brown people have a church as long as you were regurgitating or chanting or uh, teaching or doing spell work based on what we told you to do,
Mhm.
not on what you read and learned from yourself.
That's true. And even now, as you said, that spirit continues. It continues. So now the church is not profiting off of the hell theory.
Not as
Now
much.
it's more or less off of the emotions and mainly black women. It's
And prosperity, that
and,
whole,
oh
like they
yeah,
were
of
talking
course,
about
and
that
prosperity.
prosperity gospel,
Oh
that
yeah.
whole prosperity thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. You have people
You gotta
actually
sow
taking.
your way to get it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's always been an agenda behind it. And unfortunately you have some of us that don't see it.
Yeah.
And I think that also, even with that, that's a form of manipulation. And
That's
so
spell work.
it's spell work. It's
That's
spell
spell
work. And
work.
it's so funny how a lot of, black people that I have, come in contact with are really quick to call things, oh, that's witchcraft, that's spell work. Well, you've been manipulated into certain things. That's spell work too, and using certain scriptures to get people to do what you want them to do. That's manipulation. That's a form of witchcraft too.
Mm.
But we don't
You
want to talk about
know, you know what's so funny? How I started realizing what spell work was. It's a popular woman, a prophetess. She's a young girl, and well, let me go back. I used to have a very strong, really bad anxiety disorder, and it would kick up really bad in church, and I didn't know why. Like my anxiousness, my fear of hell, everything, it was real bad. I was on medication, real tough, strong medication because I couldn't take it. But I didn't relate what was happening because I hadn't traveled into my spirituality. I hadn't matured or grown into it. But recently, um, I was following a young prophetess girl, and I started realizing the stuff she started talking about, colonizing. I'm always going back to colonization. She was colonizing the people to think a certain way. And when I started like texting her, like, that is not right. I believe God told you this, but I don't believe he told you all this extra stuff that you're adding to it, because that's not good. You can't tell grown people what they should do. She was telling them all to go denounce being in a sorority because they got altars built because of the sorority, and we worshiping, and we got all this secret code and stuff. Bitches, because you don't know what we doing. All right. Now
Exactly.
you think that God. And so, I'm like, what in the world? So I said, no, I believe God probably told you to tell us to tear down altars, but I don't believe he told you what altars, because everybody has different altars in their life that's preventing, that's blocking them. For me, during that season, like, I believe what she was saying, because my altar was my marriage. I would have done any and everything, but the minute I finally let that thing go, like, God just, he was like, now we can do some work. Now that you let your altar go, now that you let that go. But going back to it, but with her, I started getting that anxiety again. And I was like, what is this? And I was anxious, and I was shaking at night, like how I used to be when I was going to church and really trying to live right. Then I realized, I was like, that's spell work. That's not God. God don't make you feel like that, anxious, and like you trepidation, that foreboding. That ain't God.
That's right. Right.
They take a form of godliness, but then deny the power thereof. They take a little form of what God said and then turn it into something else. And what was happening is my spirit was not in agreement. It was shaking, like, what is going? It was enraged. And so that's where that anxiety was coming from. And when I released that woman and released all of that, God just started speaking to me. He said, this is the reason you've got to do God out of darkness, because they take a little bit of me and then they just, I bless them, and then they just start perverting it and doing spell work on people, and then having people repeating the spell. And then everybody's going around calling and texting their best friend, you need to get out of your sorority, and if you a Mason, and if you were this, if you were that. And I was like, why would God create Alpha Kappa Alpha, sorry, Letitia, January 15, 1908, with some amazing Black women to better the lives of our community and the college campuses that we were on, for it to be against God?
Right.
Why would he create a Christian organization that's going to be like, you don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Now everybody's out repeating the spell and denouncing their friends if they don't want to denounce their beloved organization. Do it look like I worship Alpha Kappa Alpha?
No.
Does it look like Alpha Kappa Alpha is my God? It ain't done that much for me.
Right.
I mean, I love skiing and meeting sorors and sharing, our little whatever we do in our collective goals and stuff, and going to Boule. I love it, but it's showing the hell ain't God. Now, for some people, they might want it and worship it more than others, or it might be their driving force. But who are you to go around casting spells and telling other people to cast the same spells and denounce their friends? And then this was the kicker. She said, because we were in this thing is the reason why our generations are cursed. She told me, she said, keep your pet demon. That's what she told me. Keep your pet demon. What woman of God would tell me to keep my pet demon, AKA?
She got a rejection letter, girl. She ain't got over it. some people when they get their rejection letter, they don't never let that go. I just had
They
to throw
don't
that out
let
there.
it go. You were not fit for my pet demon to want you.
That's what that is.
Now you're using your platform of
Come
millions
on, call it what it is.
and
That's what it is.
spread malicious, terrible things that you know nothing about because you ain't never been in none of our initiations. You don't know what the hell we do.
Because is the church doing the work that AK is doing or Delta? Are they going to take up the slack? Is the church going to take up the slack?
They have not.
No, they
The
are
Delta
not.
and
I knew
AKA
the
have
answer
been
to
on
that
the
question.
And most
forefront
of them
since.
are secret masons and everything else.
I knew the answer when I asked it. They don't, you gonna want to take that out, but what are you doing? Are you gonna go out to the community? You gonna help make sure people you gonna do?
Because then I can't have a helicopter and private jets and all that crap. No, it's gonna take away too much. But yeah. So I realized what that whole spell work, but spell is the power and the energy behind words to change that atmosphere. And that's the other thing that I also learned. Um, going through the relinquishing of my marriage, they believe that you should really pray for your husband and really pray him out the other woman's arms and all of that stuff. I said, if I'm gonna cast a spell, it ain't gonna be about him and no other woman and nothing else. He can be whatever the hell he want to be. I'm gonna be casting spells to make sure me and my daughters are good. If I'm gonna pray, that's what I'm gonna pray. If that man want to be, if he's spellbound by some pussy somewhere else, have it all, enjoy it. But I'm not going to be feeling like I'm not a good wife because I'm not praying and fasting over his choices as a grown man. That's a spell. I am trying to redirect his free will. That's a spell.
Come on.
I learned this. This is what I've learned. Do you want to cast a spell to manipulate his free will? His free will says he don't want you. He want whatever is outside of you. So I should be spending at home fasting for 40 days and 40 nights to bring him back home, to go against his will, what he wants, so that I can be a good woman. The devil is a liar.
Well, question. Well, was he a quote unquote Christian man when he stepped out?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Never mind.
And even if he was, because in the Bible it did, this one lady did bring that. She said, it says if you have an unbelieving husband or whatever and they want to go, let them go. Bye. But even if he was a Christian man, clearly his Christendom ain't working. So you and your Christian go and do whatever the hell you want to do, since you don't want to be here. Bye. Let the
doorknob hit you.
Yeah, let the doorknob hit you way out, right? So I just kind of wanted to talk about that. We think witches and all of that. Even looking at now, there are people who use their power for craziness. We ain't doing that. We're using power for light, for good, to advance what God has given us. But we gotta, but Christianity don't teach you that. They teach you you're praying against, you're tearing down strongholds, you're casting spells. It's all a play on word, like Demetrius said. It's words.
It is.
It's words. Just like I'll get in an argument with my clients sometimes about the word God. Yeah, but he got to be a Christian. How do you know that he's a Christian? Because he says he's a Christian. What does that even mean? What are you looking for? What characteristic traits are you looking for? Well, I don't know about no Allah. It's a word. It's an Arabic word that still means the same thing that you're saying in English.
Yeah.
And nothing burns me up more than to hear somebody from the pulpit say, it ain't no Muhammad. It ain't no Buddha. Both of those religions will tell you that's not what Muhammad was there to do. Buddha is not here. You can practice Buddhism and be any religion. Buddha is not a religion. It's a practice.
Yeah.
And that stuff burns me up. And then you cast these spells over the pulpit and everybody's under a trance believing that if you're Buddhist, you're going to hell and something's wrong with you, and that's witchcraft and that's of the devil.
And when most of the witchcraft is done in the church,
Right there in the church.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna say this: one of the terms that we use in the Black community that is a form of witchcraft and manipulation is that we use the honor thy mother and father scripture.
Woo!
Well, that's still your mama. Well, that's still your daddy.
Your mama can molest you, slap you, punch you, but you still need to honor your mama. I still have cousins and people calling me talking about, call your mama. Honey, that lady was a portal for me to get here, and I bless her for that. But I'm not calling her for nothing. That lady is something treacherous. Mm-hmm. And why would I go knowing that you keep re-offending me or re-damaging me, and I go sign up for it? Just because you are a portal for me to get here?
Yeah. But that scripture is used.
The devil is a liar. That's what I'm going to say. That's going to be my word. The devil is a liar. All right. So we're going to end this session. We're going to end this with, I always ask the question. For us to share our personal wisdom or our personal knowledge of the question. And today's question is, what's a spiritual practice? What's a spiritual practice for you? What is that?
For me,
start with Steven. Yeah. What's spiritual practice? What is that?
For me, it's meditation, and I say meditation and prayer. And when I say prayer, I mean having that conversation. Well, Lord, Lord, if I do this, am I doing right? Just the conversation. That to me, that's a spiritual practice.
Demetrius, spiritual practice, what is that for you?
Spiritual practice to me, and I'm defining it my way, would be whatever you choose to do that you feel is right, that brings you into a space where you can sense the presence of the Almighty. However you may define Almighty. But it brings you into that place. It helps you. I use the word portal with your mom. This is your portal. This is the way you do it, and you don't have to get anybody else's approval. It's your business. Take care of your business. That is your spiritual practice. And I believe God honors it, because if you're sincere, if your heart is sincere, if it needs to change, God is the one to help you change it. And if not, just stay what you've been doing. God will find you. If you're questioning, stay where you are sincerely, from your heart, from a pure place that you want to do, that nobody's making you. There's no witchcraft or spells, as y'all say. You ain't prescribing to what somebody told you had to do, how long to fast, how long to pray, how many scriptures. This is what you have sensed is making you get into that portal, and you stay there until you hear something different. That is a spiritual practice.
I like that. I just want to say, isn't Demetrius such a light to guide out of darkness?
Yes.
Demetrius,
I've been trying to get him on.
Well, he gives me the link, 20 minutes. He knew I was at the gym. He didn't bother to tell me that. And so she said, reading is fundamental. Well, I just got the link. I literally went to the gym.
With my sports,
I didn't know what we was talking about. Because baby, if I had seen spell work, I would have said, well, wait a minute, Stephen. Do I need to get on? It's a good thing I didn't read it. No, I was joking.
You are such a hoot. Thank you, Demetrius.
I enjoy being here.
Spiritual practice for you. What is that for you?
Spiritual practice is basically communing with God or the source or creator, whatever you title your higher being. It's just communing with that source and being in alignment.
Yes.
However you got to get there.
Yeah, if you look at the word practice, like you have a medical practice, a law practice, it's whatever tools that you need to be effective and efficient in the agenda. And the agenda is having that relationship with the Almighty. And I thank God for this show. I thank you for God Nation. I thank you for each and every guide that was represented here. And until we meet or speak, hug yourself for me. I am Nasira Satya signing off until next week, same time, same energy. Bring your friends, like, subscribe, share, comment, do it all. Let's build momentum around Guide Out of Darkness, because since the pandemic, y'all know y'all ain't going to church, so y'all might as well tune in. Y'all ain't going to church. Demetrius,
I'm going.
Demetrius, y'all looking online. Y'all online church.
No, baby, I was in church. I left the church, went to the gym, and came here.
All
I
right,
went this morning too.
This would be the after party, the church after party. Church
Yes.
after church, okay?
Well, we could be our authentic selves and know God is still in the
Yes.
presence, in the midst, and
And he's
approving.
still here. I feel God so beautifully. I was telling Letitia, and when I get done doing Guide Out of Darkness, I feel so empowered. I feel so just so energized and beautiful and clear. And I'm thankful that he gave me the vision for this and let it grow. So spread the word for Guide Out of Darkness to God Nation. Let's get it and let's go. Let's have a powerful week. My saying is, people not reading the Bible, they're reading you. What
Amen.
are you showing them? Are you representing your best version of God?
Yes.
Adios from Mexico.
Bye.